Hello and welcome to the third episode of Kollectiv Knowledge. I am your host, Shane Barrett. You can find me on Twitter at FFShaneB, and make sure you follow the Fantasy Football Collective at FF_collective. That is all the talking about me that I'm going to do tonight, because tonight is about our guest, the one, the only, the lovely Linda Godfrey, who is now the new host of Locked On Pokes, the co-host of FF Confidential, and the co-host of Fantasy Besties. Linda, how are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm sweating tequila from last night's margaritas, but I'm going to power through. I got my Trulies. I'm ready to go.
Nice.
I'm excited to be here.
What kind of tequila do you drink in your margaritas?
Oh man, I'm a silver, like full silver tequila kind of gal, but I'll do
Okay.
cheap Jose silver. I'm not like bougie about it.
Well, I asked because I am bougie about it.
If I'm doing shots, then I want a shot of Patron. But if it's going to be mixed with ice and fake mango flavor, then I can step it down a notch.
Okay, cool. Well, tonight the whole point is just to get to know about you, from how you got started in fantasy football, and then kind of more about you personally as well. So we will kick that off with the first question, which is, when was your first fantasy football league?
I started when Piper was a baby. So I think this is my 8th season playing fantasy football. And the first year I played, my dad drafted my team for me because I was working like 12-hour days, taking my baby to work with me. I was like, I don't have time for this. And but then when like managing it and the sit-start business of it, which is still the part that I love, is so much. It was enough fun that I was like, oh, I have to do this more and also get better at it. So I really played fantasy football before I started watching the NFL. And then I was like, if you're going to win these, you're going to have to expand your knowledge a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So you started playing before you even started watching?
Yeah.
That's kind of impressive. So is that league still going?
Oh God, no. It was like what my dad changes jobs like every other day. So it was one of his work leagues that they needed one more person for. So that was that one.
Gotcha.
2 years later, I started with I have 3 home leagues that I do with some buddies from high school. So those are my longest running ones. We've been going, I think this will be our 5th or 6th year.
Nice. What are the settings in those leagues?
They're all as basic as you get. 1 quarterback, 3 wide receiver, 2 running back, 2 flex, tight end. I couldn't get them to do super flex or budge at all. I don't even think if I brought up getting rid of kickers that they would be down for that. Like, we're very, very baseline when it comes to like league settings.
Awesome. Is it PPR or is it standard?
2 of the leagues are PPR. The auction league is half PPR.
Okay,
we did get them talked into an auction league the second year. Like, we did a regular draft and we're like, we combined the 2 regular draft leagues into getting 1 auction league if people brave enough to do that. But even that was like a little difficult.
I am actually doing my first auction league. I joined Jay Felicio's home league, G-Man J, and driving up to North Carolina August 28th, I think, and doing that. They actually have a live auctioneer, so that'll be my first auction draft. So I'm kind of nervous. Need to do some research on kind of how to bid for people or what price to pay on those people. So I'm excited.
It's really fun, but I have a tendency to really like a bargain or like value. Yeah. And then like we get to the end and they're like, money doesn't carry over. I'm like, yeah, but I saved so much. Like, I just really like a bargain. So this year they're like, if you don't spend all your money, you're not going to get to play. I'm like, okay, shoot, I'm working on it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see kind of how player values work out in that. So, moving on to the second question, what is your favorite type of league to play in? What are your favorite league settings?
Man, I'm a sucker for like old school redraft, like I was just talking about. I do
Yeah,
really like Superflex because I think it adds a twist to where you can find value, which is fun.
yeah,
Two tight end leagues stress me out. Get that out of my face. I Dynasty, if we're talking from a basic standpoint, I don't Dynasty is not for me. I don't like making committed decisions like that. Like I worry about trades forever. After I make one, I just worry about it forever.
yeah.
My like biggest fear is it going through on Sleeper and everybody being like, "What a idiot," and I have to be like, "Okay." So it's scary out there. Nobody does
See,
that in redraft. Like nobody remembers terrible
yeah.
trades you made in redraft. That's why I like it.
Well, I would say that nobody does, but in my home league, they remember a couple because they've been league winning basically, and it's been with the same guy. So one year I made a trade with him, and I can't remember what the trade was, but I think I ended up getting either Saquon or Michael Thomas from him, and I went on to win the championship because I already had a pretty loaded team. Then the next year, Dom FFL actually made a trade with him, and he ended up going on to win in the championship. The funny part is we actually played each other in the championship, so we're 1-1 against each
Oof.
other in the championship. Um,
There was one year right after we drafted, I had Kyler Murray and an OU fan had James Washington and Justice Hill, and so he
uh,
traded me the two Oklahoma State guys for Kyler Murray, which
nice.
would have been terrible,
Oh,
except for
no.
that I won that year anyway, so
Okay, good.
it doesn't get brought up ever.
Okay, good.
So nobody remembers that one. I do. It keeps me up at night. That's why Dynasty is terrifying.
Yeah. Steffi's in the comments, giving us some hells. Yeah. Hey, Steffi. Love you, girl. And then Nick saying, nice haircut. Nick, you can't even see my haircut, but I will reveal it. I buzzed my head. Got tired of the what is the word I'm looking for? The receding hairline and just the overall flow that I had going on.
Sometimes
So
you gotta mix it up.
I was just like, I'm just gonna give up on it and shave it, and hopefully I got the Hims stuff from Target. That's like a whole thing that you're supposed to do. Take a vitamin, spray shit on your head, and hopefully that'll help
Hell
make it
yeah.
look thicker. So we'll see about that. So that's enough about my hair, and I'm throwing up some comments real quick. Yeah, thanks, Chris. And then I was going to throw this up, and we'll move on to the third question. So, third question, and I threw this one in specifically for you, hoping for a specific answer, but we'll see if that comes. What's your favorite position in football?
I know everybody wants me to say kicker, and I will on some level. Like, I love that shit. I like to watch it. I like the. I grew up kicking a football. I have
Yeah.
noodles for arms. I can't throw. So hi Nick. So I just I have trees for legs, so kicking was easier,
Yep.
and I enjoy watching it. But in terms of like fantasy football and the whole band kicker thing, so I'm in a lot of leagues without kickers, wide receivers all day, every day.
I
I They're so much more fun to watch than running. Like occasionally when a running back like stuffs somebody or leaps somebody or does something awesome, you're like, yeah. But 9 out of 10 times it's wide receivers making insane catches that like take me off my ass and onto my feet. So they're just exciting.
Yeah. Linda, I knew I liked you. Because wide receiver is probably my favorite position to watch and even to scout, like it's my favorite position. Just because like there's so many different ways to watch it and to be good even. So I feel like it
Mm-hmm.
makes it more fun and like you said, they make more explosive plays more often, if you ask me. So I threw up your article down there at the bottom. It is also in the show description on YouTube, talking about your love for kickers. So I just wanted to address that here and just be like, give us a 15 to 30-second spiel on why people should play with kickers.
I just think the argument to not play with them is bad. The fact that they're random should not. That's We're trying to guess humans. It's all random.
Mhm.
Lamar
Yeah,
Jackson left mid game to take a poop. last season. Did you factor that in? Probably not. That's all I'm saying is they're too random is a really, really bad argument. Just say you don't want to figure out how to scout them and move on. That's fine. But bad argument. Just twitch your argument. That's all I'm saying.
All right. I'll work on my argument then just for you.
Thank you.
And Chris, so that's a friend of ours who's a pro kicker person. And Mike is saying, just let to talk. Thank you, Mike. You're so nice to me. Okay, let's move on to question number 4. When did you actually start making content for fantasy football?
God, when I started getting invited to dynasty leagues and like being tagged in like Follow Friday trains and shit, and I was like, I'm not like doing anything. I just exist here. Like I comment, but people are asking, and I kept getting tagged, and like I wanted to, but I didn't have the resources, so I saved up my money and bought a laptop, and I was like, I'm gonna make rankings, and then I got to like 10 tight ends, and I was like, rankings not for me, so I had to change course a little bit. And I don't know, it's a hodgepodge of shit talking mixed with some facts here and there. I'm just winging it.
I mean, aren't we all? Like, seriously. Well, so Chris McConkey is FF Tycoon. I was trying not to reveal your identity because I didn't know if you wanted it revealed. So yes, that is FF Tycoon. And
he is very pro kicker.
He's very pro kicker. So there was a whole debate in our FF Kollectiv chat the other day about kickers, and he is very pro kicker, and he's dealing with me and Carbon Fox. So you know that we're both anti-kicker.
You were like the only one that stuck to that not drafting a kicker in Scott Fishbowl. So I can't wait till you pick one up off the waiver wire.
For our group, yes, I am the only one.
I mean, good for you. You stuck to your guns. Yeah. I took 4. I took 3 on the last day because I was pissed off at people talking shit on Twitter about kickers. So I was like, let's go draft all of them. So,
I love that. Who was your first one that you took?
Tyler Bass. Okay. Early. Soon as one kicker went off the board, I was like, I have to go get him because I've talked nonstop. Like my group the whole time, the Nickelback division was like, as long as she doesn't leave with Tyler Bass, as long as she doesn't leave with Blake Jarwin. I was like, you guys are being really mean. Like, and I didn't get out with Blake Jarwin, but I did get Tyler Bass. So,
Fox said he caved and took one. Yes, he did. Traitor.
And he got Jarwin. Bastard.
And he got Jarwin. So I don't think I got Jarwin. I didn't take a kicker. I'm pretty sure I took Cole Kmet, and I know you love Cole Kmet. So
I also took Cole Kmet.
That pick was for you.
Thank you.
I've been in in the drafts that I've been doing a lot lately, which have mostly been best ball. I've been pairing TJ Hawkinson and Cole Kmet, and I'm loving it, honestly. Like, I feel like Hawk is going to be pretty solid for the most part all year because who the hell else is Detroit going to throw to? And then Kmet just feels real breakout-ish to me. So,
the best ball, I drafted a best ball team last night after I got home. And it's very running back thin, and I need Justin Fields to like start pretty quickly. But otherwise, like if it all comes together, I love it. I just stared at it for a while after. I was like, this is really good. Let's show everybody.
Awesome.
Best ball is too much fun.
It really it is, and it's great for people probably like you and me. I know like me that have a problem and just like need to draft all the time. Like it's perfect.
Yeah, it's so much better than mock drafts. Like I do a lot of mock drafts, but I got pretty burnt out after all the rookie drafts. I was like, I gotta take a break.
Yeah,
and then I downloaded Underdog.
Yep. Same here. Okay, you kind of answered question 5, which is what made you start, and that was people asking you to join dynasty leagues and being like, hey, you should make content. So we're going to pass over that one unless you want to elaborate on it more and move on to question number 6. What is your favorite thing about the fantasy football community?
Oh, man. I don't know. There's so many fun things. It's first of all, there's like always somebody to talk to about whatever it is, whichever player, whatever strategy, whatever you want to talk about, there's an outlet, which is nice for like my friends that I sometimes see in real life to not be just bombarding them with fantasy football stuff. I mean, I still do sometimes, but that's really nice that there's just this like really big sounding board.
Yeah.
There are definitely some downsides to it, but I think overall it's just a good space to be. I mean, like, there's a group I hang out with on Friday nights. We hang out on a Zoom call. It's not recorded, it's not live. We don't do anything with it, but just hang out and drink and talk about life and shit. Like, I have
That's
like
awesome.
real friends that I've made over the internet. It's insane.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and that, like, I've talked about that too before, like Scott Fishbowl, like I've got some of my best friends in the world from Scott Fishbowl and being in the Pick Six group chat. So like I totally get what you're saying and totally agree. So I love that. And that's kind of been the underlying theme, is just like the people, the community aspect.
Yeah, camaraderie.
Yeah.
That's a big word for my hungover ass to be thrown around.
Okay, so last question before we hit rapid fire. What are your hobbies outside of fantasy football?
I don't know. Like, I'm an avid reader every like 3 or 4 months. I'll go through like a month and read like 12 books, and then I don't read for several months, and then I pick up a book and do it again. Really outside of fantasy football, like I listen to a ton of true crime podcasts and hyperfixate on crimes that I find, like, especially like unsolved crimes.
Yeah.
And read way too much about that. And then stand-up comedy. Like, those are the two things that outside of fantasy football I really get into.
You said stand-up comedy?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite?
Oh man, it depends on the day. John Mulaney is like pretty high up there on. He's my background on my phone. Like, I adore the man.
Yeah.
Nate Bargatze is fantastic. He has 2 on Netflix that are really good. I listen to I watch Tom Segura's like every couple of weeks just when I need a good laugh. So, but I'll try anything once.
Nice.
That's a stretch.
That's gonna be the tagline of the podcast.
Fantastic.
Anything once. So you like true crime podcasts and you like to read. We'll say occasionally. Who's your favorite author?
Oh man. I'm gonna expose the fuck out of myself right now, because I read like rom-coms and like but like not like spicy adult romance novels. No, get that shit out of my, like, 17 to 20-year-olds like that. Like,
no 50 Shades of Grey.
I blush when I'm like reading and they like hold hands. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. So I don't need that. But there's this author that does young adult novels, and her name's Sarah Dressen. And I read the shit out of her when I was in high school. I still own like every book. Anytime she drops a new one, I'm like, I'm gonna read it. It's going to take me 12 hours. I'm not going to do anything else the rest of the day. And then I just have this $20 book that's not got any value to like resell.
My favorite one outside of like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings is James Patterson. So kind of true crimey. I really like the Alex Cross series. Yeah. So
yeah,
Alex Cross.
My other favorite hobby with books is finding like books that aren't like, there's a website called thriftbooks.com, and it's just like thrift stores put their books on there. And there was a book written by Abby Hoffman, who was like a yippie back in the 60s, and they like stopped making it. So I got online and found it on eBay. It was going for like $200. I got it for like $6 off the thrift store.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and then they're one of the very first comedians that really opened the door for how comedy is now. Lenny Bruce, he had a autobiography written, and it's been re-edited so many times that it's like hardly even him anymore.
Oh,
so you had to find one that was like released in 1969, and I found that one for like $3 on that Thrift Books as well. So that's like, I love doing that shit.
Nice. Fantasy Barbecue asks you, how about Mitch Hedberg? I'm assuming that is a comedian.
I don't know if I've ever watched any Mitch Hedberg. I'll have to look. I watch a lot of it when I'm like baked, and so the names don't always stick.
I gotcha. All right. Well, anything else you want to tell us about your fantasy football journey before we move on to rapid fire?
The journey, a very new journey, starts as soon as the season does, when me, Victoria, Cooter Doodle, and Steph are doing a start sit show on Sunday mornings called Sundays Are for the Girls. And we're like it's going to be a mess, but it's going to be really fun.
I
I'm
am
super looking forward to that.
I am so excited for that because that is one hell of a crew. Four of my favorite girls in the fantasy space, so I am excited for that. Tycoon says, look him up immediately, talking about Hedberg. Hedberg is amazing. Fantasy Barbecue says, you'll love Hedberg if you're baked. Straight up witty one-liners. And Drop the Mic says, happy hour in the house. So, all right, let's move on to segment number 2, and this is rapid fire. So I don't have a ton of rapid fire questions because I'm still working on a repertoire for them, but that should be relatively easy for you, especially since you are hungover. So we will fire through these. All right, first, favorite NFL team?
I was on mute. This is a bad start to rapid fire. Denver Broncos.
Favorite sport that's not football?
Golf.
Interesting. Favorite food?
Chips.
Chips. I love it. Do you have a favorite chip type, like barbecue, jalapeno? Like what's
really
favorite?
just I just
Classic potato
dig
chips.
chips and salsa
Okay,
with queso or guac or just salt and salsa. I don't give a shit. But I will
absolutely.
eat chip and dip. I'll do it all day if it's here. Like
Yeah,
it's a problem.
me too. One of my favorite memes is you never know your lack of self control until someone puts chips and salsa in front of you, and it's so freaking true. Like
It's all I
can't
ate last
can't
night.
stop.
We went to the Mexican restaurant and I didn't even order food. I was like,
You
no,
just ate chips and salsa.
this is fine. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, favorite sports movie.
Remember the Titans.
Oh, great choice.
By a lot.
Favorite non-sports movie.
Damn, probably a Breakfast Club.
Nice. Very nice. Favorite band.
Oh man, I don't know. Whatever's on the radio. I'm so bad at bands. Nickelback's the division I'm in. We'll just say that. I know
We'll
every
go
song.
Nickelback. Okay. Favorite kicker.
My dad.
I love
That's
it.
cheating.
No, that's a perfectly acceptable answer. I was kind of hoping you would say that actually. And then finally, favorite adult beverage.
Oh yeah, Truly Lemonades. For sure.
Nice. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that is episode 3 of Kollectiv Knowledge with Linda Godfrey. You can follow her at Twitter. Actually, I have one more question for you. How do you pronounce your handle on Twitter?
It's Lindellians.
It is Lindellians. I was right.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I think I was right.
I had a buddy in college start calling me that, and so I made it like every handle on everything that I Xbox tag, Snapchat, it's everything. And then very recently, like within the last like year or two, the guy I co-commission our home leagues with was like, it looks like Lindell Lions, right? And I was like, excuse me? What'd you just say to me? And then it turns out that's what everybody thought it was. I'm like, it's too late now. That's what it is.
I love that. That was my questions. Thank you for coming on. Everybody make sure you follow Linda at Lindellians
Nailed
on
it.
Twitter. Like I said before, she's the co-host of Fantasy Besties, the co-host of FF Confidential, and the newly touted host of Locked On Pokes. So if you are an Oklahoma State Cowboy, you need to check that show out. And coming on Sundays. Sundays are for the girls. I will be tuning in. Linda, anything you want to plug before we sign off?
Nope, that was perfect. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the 3rd episode of Kollectiv Knowledge. I am your host at FF Shane B. Cheers.